Hey there VR gamers. When I moved from flat screen gaming to VR gaming, I noticed two things. First, I noticed that my accuracy went down quite a bit. The second thing I noticed is that when I was recording, I'm no longer recording down my scope when I'm looking down my scope, so all of my aiming looks a bit off in the recording. It's a bit of an offset. In virtual reality games, the recordings and your aim is impacted by your eye dominance, which I'm going to talk about today in this video, trying to figure out which eye is your dominant eye and why that matters in VR compared to flat screen gaming. If you are not right eye dominant and you're actually left eye dominant and you're recording the right eye on the VR lens, you might notice that while looking down your scope, your recording doesn't show down the scope because you might be looking down the scope without even noticing with your left eye, and your right eye is being recorded, so it's offset. I've had this in a couple of my recordings in the past, and I'll show you how to quickly change that in Streamlabs OBS, but the same principles for any recording software you use. The first thing you want to do is load up any VR shooter. I'm using Pavlov in this example, but you could use other shooters. Walk towards a target, put your hands out in front of you and make a triangle with your hands, and then center some distant object, here I'm using a target, in the center of your triangle that you make with your hands. So in Pavlov, it's pretty easy to just maneuver your fingers with the controllers to get yourself something similar to a triangle. And now you can look down and try and center the object. Now open and close your left and right eye. If when you close your right eye, the target is in the center of the triangle still, then your left eye dominant. If you close your left eye and the object, in this case the target, is in the center of the triangle, that means you're right eye dominant. Now this doesn't impact flat screen gamers, because if you're playing an FPS on a flat screen, even if you're left eye dominant, the screen doesn't really change because you're looking at one flat screen. But in VR, because you actually have two screens, it makes a difference which way you look down your scope, and you may feel more comfortable using your dominant eye. If you're trying to do a VR shooter with both eyes open, some people close one eye when they aim, you're going to be using your dominant eye to line up the sights, and your other eye is going to kind of be looking at the scene. Most people, about 2/3 of people, are right-handed and right eye dominant. However, about 1/3 of people are cross-dominant. So their handiness, in my case I'm right-handed, but their eye dominance is different. So I'm left eye dominant, but I'm right-handed. So I tend to prefer holding a gun in VR using my right hand, but I aim down my sights with my left, which makes it a little bit awkward when I'm trying to line up a shot. Some gun trainers recommend that you use the hand that matches your dominant eye. So in my case, what I'm going to start doing is trying to hold my gun in my left hand so I can quickly raise up my weapon and line up my left eye down the sights for shooting. It's going to be very awkward at first, I won't lie. Holding a gun with left hand doesn't seem natural, but as soon as I started doing that, I actually felt like I could line shots up quicker than I could if I was holding the weapon in my right hand. In Pavlov, you have to change a couple of settings, and I'll show those here. You can actually set your hand dominance to left instead of right if you're left eye dominant. And you can also change the rendering to left eye, and that's going to make a little bit of a difference when you're playing through the game if you're left eye dominant. The other thing to notice is when you're recording, if you are left eye dominant and you're recording, you may be looking down the scope with your left eye but recording your right, so that's a quick fix in Streamlabs OBS. You can go to the settings of the display capture and just flip it from recording right eye to left eye. And now when you do recording, you're going to be able to see that when you look down the scope, you're left eye dominant. If you do a recording while you do the eye dominance test in VR, if you're recording the right eye and you're left eye dominant, the recording is going to show the target not in the center. It's going to throw the target off like it does here. Once you flip the recording to the proper eye, if you redo the hand test in VR, you will be recording with the target in the center of the triangle. If you've noticed your accuracy has dropped off quite a bit since going from flat screen gaming to VR gaming, give this a try and let me know if it works. I'm going to be making a big effort to try and always use my left hand for guns now to make the aiming easier. I'd love to hear if it helps you guys out, if it makes a difference. If you found this video helpful at all, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. Hope to see you guys in VR.